begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 9th Board of County Commissioners meeting. I'm Aaron Mays, currently serving as the chairman. I represent District 3. On my left is Commissioner Bill Rippon, representing District 1. And on my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, representing District 2. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
First item, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
We have 12 items on the consent agenda today, quite a bit. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to review those. Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
All right, under building maintenance, Fairbanks Equipment, Inc., $23,710.40 is for roadside spraying unit. Under equipment fund, TBS Electronics, Inc., $18,525 is for Radio Pro, user license for push-to-talk gateway between phones and tablets. And also under equipment, the WT Group LLC, $15,246.45 is for the audit of parks and recreation assets for ADA compliance. Under solid waste recycling, Lauer Plumbing, Heating and Air, totaling $18,148 is for the installation of the tube heater in the truck wash bay. If there's no questions or comments, I'll move for approval of the vouchers. Total vouchers as of May 6, 2022 is $646,405.37.
And I'll second.
I already got it. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
There are no correction orders today.
Okay. Then next item, please.
Item A3, consider the request to change an office assistant 2 position to an office assistant 3 position in the County Clerk's Real Estate Division. And Commissioners, this position is, of course, we've been talking for better part of a year now, more than a year, about the changes coming our way. Last year it was with Senate Bill 13, which is a change to the budgeting process. Last year it was just required to publish notice or put it on your website. This is the first year that we will have to send out notifications to every taxpayer. So if the county holds a revenue neutral rate hearing, we have to send out a notice to everybody in the county. If it were just a portion, like just say one school district or something, there's not as many, but we have to send them out to everybody, and this is going to deeply affect my real estate division. And the positions I have right now, I had an OA2 and an OA3 because of their job differences. And when this came along, we had kind of one position retired. The one who took the OA3 position, she acquired a lot of the duties that she was kind of doing both of them. Well, I hired the OA2 position thinking that would take some of the load off of her, but this has just made it pretty much impossible. So we have no idea really what to expect. I mean, that's the problem with all what's going on. So it's not, this is not a non-cost to the counties or to the county people or the taxpayer of the county. This, it's going to be, unfortunately, this is how it is. So this is just one of the, I don't know what other counties are doing, but I know some of them are having to hire people, or at least, and some of them on a part-time basis to help get through this. She has, she had actually been in my office before and is very well versed in the real estate area, having been in the surveyor's office prior to that, after she left my office. So good addition, and their duties have been equalizing, and so in fairness and everything going on, I'm asking to change her from a 2 to a 3.
Commissioner Rippon.
With this state mandate, is there any funding from the state to help with postage or this position?
No, they're going to give us, if they budget for it, and I'm sure that Jim probably can find it in the state budget, or maybe Commissioner, somebody can help me find it. If they budget for it and they approve the budget, they will help cover the cost of the mailings, which, don't know if that's the postage or if it's the mailings. It's kind of a little bit vague whether it's the creation of the mailers and the postage. I don't know, maybe Jim, we just don't really know.
That's going to be sizable.
We don't know yet.
Postage.
Yeah, and that was, you approved the mailing, print the mailers and get them mailed the week before last with the treasurer for their tax statements. Mine's going to go into that same contract, so have no idea. I hope they're going to reimburse it. It's supposed to be for the first 2 years, and then after that, we just have to accept it. Could be $40,000, $50,000, I don't know. But the position is, there, like I said, we're going to be picking up a lot of extra, hopefully not a lot, I should say, but extra duties for everybody in the real estate division and all of us.
All right,
Chairman?
yes.
Madam Clerk, I have some questions about this memorandum. It's very brief and doesn't give a lot of information. And you and I had not talked about this before this, but we've had a number of changes that have come across the commission desk here recently regarding changing classifications of employees.
Mhm.
Most recently, the elections office, they wanted to change some people because they had advanced degrees and they were following the person in their career, and that if that person was to leave, the position would go back to what it was before. Parks and Rec has been talking about reorganization and changing position descriptions. Other departments, and then this comes right on the heels of giving out one of the largest raises that Shawnee County has ever gone through. So walk through with me. Is this a new position you're creating? Is this a position that you are filling and then changing? Is this an existing person's already in your office that you're wanting to change, upgrade to? Have they received additional training, or is this just because you're expecting an influx of activity due to a action by the Kansas legislature?
This person is already in my office. She already works for me. And the position she filled was the OA2. And that has been, that I have had an OA2 and an OA3 in the office. When my OA3 retired, the OA2 moved up to the OA3 position. That was because she was then doing both her job and the OA2. Like, she was doing all of those. She's there. That position is the front position in my office, and then we were evaluating how we thought it would work. We really did. We thought it would work. We went for about just not quite 2 years that way, and in the discussion with the supervisor for the real estate division, and it just didn't. It was not working out because it was a pretty heavy load just for her to be taking on. So we opened the position up and opened the OA2 position up. That brought this person back into the office. Had a good background in real estate, and has all along the OA3 and has been teaching her, and they're both doing pretty much the same. One works more heavily in the real estate side. One works more heavily in the motor vehicle, because we have to balance the motor vehicle with the treasure. We work with that. So they're doing both. They're both taking care of the counters. They're both doing homestead, and then we're of course taking care of the phone and everything. So this one is pretty much because of the increase in the responsibilities that we expect to come through with the changes with the law changes. it's a little bit, the positions requirements are going to be increasing. They've already been kind of they're level. You couldn't tell one from the other right now, but it's going to get considerably heavier I'm not going to say the OA3 is the only one that's going to be able to take care of the calls and the information that we're going to be coming from the mailing out of these. The OA2 shouldn't be handling that because you can't do that. So we felt that the easiest way would be to put them both at an OA3, and they would both and because of the responsibilities, not drop one down to an OA2, but put them both at OA3.
I just know that there's a concern, and Ms. Greiner, the Audit Finance Director, and I have talked about, is that when department heads put in their memorandums that we have sufficient budget to manage the pay change, that may be for this year, but as we move forward, the salaries will continue to increase, and with the way, given the raises that we've already budgeted, and additional raises, and given the mill levy neutral, and I just don't, I worry about our budget and where we're at and being able to, I would hate to give somebody a raise and then have to lay them off in a year. So, but, thank you.
Well, I also do have the tech fees that can be used for real estate if need be. I can use those as a, if it were ever need to be. I had been using it, part of it for a salary, and then so I do in real estate, as long as everything is related to real estate, I do have that option. It's not a, it's not a huge amount of money, but it would be, if I had to have it in there to keep the position, I would do that to maintain it if you decided to cut budgets.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Thank you. Item B, District Attorney, request approval of the appointment of Dan Dunbar as special counsel to the Shawnee County District Attorney's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Kage, Shawnee County DA. Thank you for your time this morning. If you look at the language of 22A-106, it says that when I bring somebody on as an attorney in my office, they have to be a full-time employee, unless you authorize me to appoint someone as a special counsel. The situation we have here is Mr. Dunbar retired from my office last year after over 2 decades of experience as a prosecutor. His record speaks for itself. He's probably the best trial attorney I've ever seen. And we're in a position where we're still working through our backlog. But more importantly, we have 2 cold cases that are getting ready to go, and I'm going to need his help. And so we do have a cold case fund, as you will recall, and so the expectation is he'll be assigned to cold cases, at least initially, and so his compensation would come from there.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
No.
I'd move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item C, Public Works, number 1, consider approval of a project budget, Stormont Bailey Event Center Service Drive and Shawnee County Extension Office parking area at an estimated cost of $111,800 with funding from the general fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Plans are complete. We've had a field check. The weather's getting warmer. It's time to get a project started, and the project I'm talking about is the unloading drive between Domer Livestock Arena and the main event center at the Stormont Vale Event Center complex. The work involves concrete removal, concrete patching, asphalt removal, asphalt overlays, some drainage work. We've got an engineer's estimate, so I'm here before you asking you to approve a project budget. The funds will come out of the general fund. This is not a public works project. I am merely assisting. And with your blessing, we'll move forward with a June 15th letting. Questions?
Questions for Kurt?
Just might note that this is the drive between the Stormont Vale Event Center and Domer Arena. I know that the public, specifically where this would be, so.
Yeah, this is the area where trucks load and unload into Landon Arena and into the horses and all that stuff. too.
Correct. And
So-
it also includes repairs to the Shawnee County Extension Office parking area.
It's not a complete replacement though, right?
No, no. Repair, rehabilitation, mill and inlay, things like that.
And then I assume that we've talked to the event center staff to make sure that they can work around the schedule. with
Absolutely. That's why
loading.
we're doing it at this time of the year. I think the type of events they have, we're not going to have big trucks coming in and out, so this is a great time of the year to do the project.
Okay,
And, Mr. Chairman, this was an item that was budgeted part of our general fund.
correct.
Mr. Chairman. And this won't interfere with most people that are coming to and from the event center. This
No, if you're not unloading or you're not someone who's putting on some kind of an event, yeah, to the average public person that attends these things, they won't even notice it.
Yeah, that road's typically blocked off during events anyway, so I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. Next item, please.
Item D, Department of Corrections, number 1. Excuse me. Consider authorization and execution of contract C-143-2022 with Meriden Roofing Solutions for Phase 2 of roof replacement at a compensation amount of $703,000 with guaranteed maximum price of $808,500 to be paid from the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is Phase 2 of the roofing project that has been approved by the Board of County Commissioners. When this first came out, there was a price of around $620,000 that was approved initially through the Sparks Committee. As we started going on through this, the prices started going up. And Meridian was the lowest, most responsive at $703,000, and so, or 703,000. And so we went back before the Sparks Committee, and they approved that amount to be there. There was some question about, they did mention, say, look, the longer we wait, the more, this could keep going. And so there was a request for a maximum guaranteed price. So they said, okay, we'll guarantee a maximum guaranteed price at $808,000. My position at this point was, and I spoke with Betty, who brought this to my attention, and I appreciate that, Betty, was to let everybody know is that our job is to keep this at the $703,000. They went ahead and put a maximum guarantee. If it starts going over, I will reach out to Betty. We'll either fund it through our existing budget, or I'll meet with Betty to see if there's existing ARPA funds that can be able to do this. We got to get this project going because prices are going up, and if we wait any longer, we're probably going to start looking at 6 to 10% increases as we go. So as I met with Betty this morning I want this to be 100% transparent. The Sparks Committee has approved up to the 703. Our job and our intent is to keep them on task to get done and below price. But if it happens to go over, that I will meet back against Betty to look at our budget for that or go back in front of the Sparks Committee. And I put everything in front of the Sparks Committee before it ever came back to you.
Questions for Brian?
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Next item, please.
Item E, Health Department, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-144-2022 with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment Division of Healthcare Finance to provide outreach, prevention, and early intervention services through the Shawnee County Health Department for grant funding in the amount of $436,000 with dollar-for-dollar matching funds from the Early Childhood Block Grant.
Good Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director with the Health Department. As the clerk read, this is what has become an annual request to enter into an agreement with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. This is what we consider the Medicaid match dollars, and they provide the match dollars that we need for the Early Childhood Block Grant. Those are private dollars that we receive as part of the tobacco settlement here in Kansas. And for our department, we fund our Nurse Family Partnership Program with these funds. The other program that also uses us as a pass-through is Kansas Children's Service League. And so we enter into one agreement with the state, and then I will be bringing forth a subsequent contract with KCSL to act as the pass-through. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Teresa?
No. No for approval? Oh, second then.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item E2, consider authorization and execution of contract C-145-2022 with Clinical Reference Laboratory, Inc. to provide COVID-19 testing kits to be paid by COVID-19 grant funds.
Morning, Commissioners. Derek Furlong, Infectious Disease Manager for the Health Department. Here to ask for your blessing to enter into a testing service agreement with Clinical Reference Laboratory. So if you recall, way back early on, they provided some of the saliva testing kits that we were able to give to people. The nice thing about these is we will actually order a batch from them, whatever that amount is. They'll give them to us, and then we can hand them out to people free of charge. They come with a prepaid FedEx shipping label where folks are able to collect their specimen. It comes with instructions. Package it, put it in the mail, and it's shipped off to the laboratory to be processed and analyzed, and they do all the reporting for us. It is covered by COVID-19 grant funds, and with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Questions?
What does this cost? I mean, you say it's covered by our COVID
Yeah.
grant funds, but what does this program cost?
Yeah, so it's per test, and so we're only charged for whatever we order. It is $75 a test. It's quite a bit more expensive than you would, for like a single antigen. These are PCR tests, so a little bit more specific and sensitive, and can be used in some different situations. So they kind of play in tandem with the testing site we have going, and then just with what's available in the community. Some of the changes at the federal level as far as reimbursement goes for testing locations, and this allows us to, for example, offer some community centers, even within the county, some faith centers, different vulnerable locations that we could provide with testing kits should they have like an outbreak or a cluster or something like that. We can be a little bit more responsive.
So where's the Pcr Labs that we send these to?
Yeah, these are in, oh goodness, I want to say Overland Park. They are in Kansas, though. This is a Kansas company. They've contracted with the state before. They were actually our regional provider when the state had kind of their testing plan. So CRL's been a real good partner for, I think, everybody in kind of the Northeast region.
You wouldn't know the threshold number of what they're testing at this
No,
point?
sir, not off the top of my head, but I
Okay.
did ask for you, so I will get you that
Okay.
answer, I promise
I'd
you.
like to know. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Derek, do we have any kind of a guaranteed turnaround time? I know we had problems with people having to wait 4 or 5 days to get the results. By the time they get them, it doesn't even matter anymore. I mean, are they helping with that, or they?
Yeah, I think it depends on the demand. When they were getting a bunch of specimens shipped to them, and of course they were contracted with the state, they were providing a lot of tests for a lot of different entities, and I think they were looking at 72 hours plus at that point. At this point, it's an overnight shipping label, so it gets there overnight via FedEx. And then we're told, 48 to 72 hours is always the goal, but at this point in time, they're 48 hours or less. And we'll watch those, as we go and kind of stay in communication with them. We've had a good line of communication with actually their vice president. And so those are all metrics that I try to stay up on.
Do we have any idea, you said this is sort of on an as-needed basis.
Mhm.
So do we have any idea how many we're going to get to start
Yeah.
off with?
Yeah, I think we're looking to start with about 500. And so the expiration dates on them, they go about a year. So
Okay.
that does allow us to hold on to them and really, I think, plan, especially as we of course, it's getting hotter now, but we're looking at the fall, early winter, that sort of thing, to have these on hand for those locations. And the nice thing too, is we can pay for them up front. So, they do have some different, financial agreements you can enter into where you pay for a certain amount, and then once they receive the specimen, then they charge you for the rest. But you're kind of in a situation at that point where you hand out kits and then you're wondering where they are, when are we going to get charged for them? So this allows for we can pay for them up front, $75 up front for each test, and then we don't have to worry about sort of how many they're getting back. Now, we can still track that, and we'll watch who's getting the kits themselves. It comes with an online registering for the patient themselves, and then CRL can report back to us, how many they've received and that sort of thing. And so we'll work closely with the partners that get these tests, that are interested in these tests.
So is there a ceiling on this grant funding? I mean, it's not unending. I mean,
Sure.
500, if we do 500 at $75, that's, you're getting in the range $40,000.
Yeah, I think it's about 38 off the top of my head. We feel comfortable with that. So I think we've been responsible with the testing funds that we've had. Of course, we've came and asked for your approval to receive funding from like some of the HUD grant funds. We have infrastructure funds still remaining, COVID testing specific funds, and so this is, I think, in line with what we've tried to plan for, using those responsibly for. Some of those grant funds end in June, some of them end in November, some are good through 2023, and some are good through 2024. It's quite the spreadsheet of tracking, but I think we're doing a good job of being responsible with those.
Derek, are these funds only eligible for this type of item?
The specific funds that we have in mind using these for have to be for COVID. So it can be geared toward, and it really needs to be an equity focus, but testing, vaccination, PPE could factor into that, but it's pretty specific to COVID.
I wonder if, instead of a PCR test, I mean, the antigen tests are like $20 that, maybe we could stretch our dollars a little bit more, or not our dollars necessarily, but the federal dollars a little bit more by going with something like that instead.
Yeah, I think the point of these CRL kits is these will allow us to give them to partners. Like I said, some faith centers, we could use them inside the county as well at community centers, discussions with Parks and Rec and things of that nature. When you get into antigen testing, and so say for example, like a church or some community organization wanted to test, they would actually be required to get a CLIA waiver, the lovely laboratory waiver, through CMS. And that comes with a list of requirements. These CRL kits, since they're being provided by us, but most importantly, they're being processed by another laboratory, their reporting requirements and the regulations fall on the laboratory themselves. And so this really allows us to just say, hey, organization, A, are you interested? Do you need PCR tests? Here you go. Here's what you need to know before shipping them in. It comes with instructions. And it's really a hands-off approach. When you get into antigen testing, then it becomes, here's the form you fill out. You have to pay for this waiver. They can audit you. You typically have to have some sort of medical person on site or at least overseeing it, so you need a lab director. Just comes with some different regulatory
So we
things.
can't just buy a bunch of the rapid tests and hand them out to members of the community.
Yeah, it gets a little muddy. So the over-the-counter tests you can, of course, those are not reportable. So typically with those, people will say, I need an order or proof of my positive test for an employer or something. We get into kind of some muddy waters. There's pros and cons to each of them. I think as far as the funding goes on these tests, we'll see how the first batch goes, what the interest is, and go from there. I mean, we're certainly not going to go out and spend an enormous amount of dollars on these tests if there's not any interest. We have had interest before from some locations that have asked about testing like this, and we've pitched that antigen idea back to them. And as far as what they would need to do, some of them just aren't interested in going through all of the regulatory requirements that those pose.
Okay. Any further questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
you keep referencing religious organizations or other entities. Do you already have entities already lined up, ready to receive these kits?
Yes, we have a couple interested parties, folks that have tested before or have wanted to have them on hand, especially as they start having some different events over the summer. Numbers ebb and flow, go into the fall as well. And I think, to be honest, we don't know the plan from the state's angle as far as the testing they're going to be offering even schools as we go into the fall, different, housing authorities and things like that. So I just referenced the faith centers just because those have been some pretty close partners throughout the pandemic. They've offered a lot of testing for us, vaccination sites, and they've had interest in providing those as well. So that's typically who comes first to my mind, just since they've been such a close partner.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention again on the testing, it would be nice to know the threshold because, over the whole course of this COVID thing, they've messed around with those numbers. For a while, they were very high, which you could get a lot of false positives because you had to, it would pick up a pneumonia shot you had a year ago if you set it up high enough. But then at one point, the governor set it at 25. And so I was just wondering what they have it now.
Yeah, I mean, each test is going to be specific to that test, and it's actually specific to the laboratory. The tests themselves are specific to COVID, but I did ask for the cycle threshold for you.
That would be good to know.
We'll absolutely provide that to you when they reply.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm going to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thanks, Derek. Next item, please.
Item F, solid waste. Number 1, consider approval of resolution 2022-31 adopting the 2022 annual update of the Shawnee County Solid Waste Management Plan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. This morning I am representing the Shawnee County Solid Waste Management Committee, and in audience also attended is Jake Fisher, who was elected chair for the Solid Waste Committee this year. Every year we're required to submit an annual update to the Shawnee County Solid Waste Management Plan by resolution. A couple weeks ago I came before you getting the Solid Waste Management Committee finalized, and today I am presenting our adoption of the annual update, which includes basically the Solid Waste Management Committee. That will be our only update for this year. So stand by for your questions, gentlemen.
Any questions?
No.
All right, well, congratulations, Mr. Fisher, on your election as chair. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
Bill. Next item, please.
Item G, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval to award the bid for rental and servicing of portable restrooms to United Rentals North America, Inc., DBA Reliable On-Site Services with expenses available in the general operations budget and authorization and execution of contract C-146-2022 for same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. This morning we're asking you to accept this bid from United Rentals North America to handle all of our porta-john needs. We estimate that we'll save around a little over $5,000 annually by going with this contract over what we're currently doing. So be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Did you have many people respond to this?
We only had one. They were our lone responsive bidder, but
Are they local?
but we do feel like like I said, I think it is going to be a step in the right direction for us. I wish we would have gotten more bids, but even without that, we think we're going to save substantial amount of money.
Is this a local company too?
No, I don't think
No.
so.
I don't know, to be honest.
They have a local presence. but
Yes, I
think they're a
believe
national
that's the
company.
good explanation.
All right.
I'll vote for approval.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item G2, consider approval to award bid to the Gage Park mini train train replacement to Chance Rides Manufacturing, Inc., with funding for the project to be provided by the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, and authorization and execution of the purchase agreement C-147-2022 for same. Execution of the agreement is dependent upon CRM meeting all federal ARPA requirements in order to proceed with construction and delivery in 2022-23.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So I want to start with a little bit of housekeeping. I just wanted to let the clerk know that our project number for this is 2021-46. And she mentioned that these are ARPA funds, but specifically ARPA SLFRF funds. So, and as the clerk mentioned, we'll make sure and do our due diligence before we move ahead that the vendor meets all the ARPA requirements. Now, having said that, again, this is a situation where we only had one bidder on this project. Happens to be the bidder that we've been working with for some time on this project. They're the ones that gave us the initial quote. They're the company that bought the company that built the original train. So we feel comfortable with them. I've actually asked Brent Holsetter to come up and give you a brief presentation, and together we'll try to answer any questions you might have.
Good morning, Brent Holsetter, Shawnee County Parks and Rec Fleet Services Supervisor. Just kind of wanted to give you some details on the company that had the loan bid that we received. Chance Manufacturing is located right here in Wichita, Kansas. They've been in business since 1961 and actually started by building a park train. In 1970, they actually purchased Allen Herschel Company, which is the company that made the Iron Horse that we have at Gage Park right now. They have since kind of sold that off to a museum, all their rights to that. But they do make all kinds of rides all over the world. It's a pretty good chance that if you have been to a carnival or a amusement park, you've been on a Chance ride. This is an example of the train that we're looking to purchase. It's an electric train using lithium-ion batteries. You can see on the left is an example of that Chance CP Huntington train, and on the right is our beloved Iron Horse at Gage Park. They're very similar in style. There are some differences, but it should well continue through the tradition at Gage Park. This kind of gives you an idea of what the passenger vehicles would look like. A little bit more comfortable seating. They would have lights in the roof there, as well as speakers. The seats are a little taller, a little wider. Benefits of having a new train out there, first would be fuel savings. They're estimated to be about 10 times more efficient than the diesel that we have in there now. There's considerably less parts to break in an electric drivetrain system. There is still an awful lot of parts on a train like that that need to be maintained, but that would cut the maintenance down. One of the issues we've had with the train we have is getting parts for it, and being that they're manufactured, the parts for the Chance train is manufactured right here in Kansas, makes it a whole lot easier to get the parts. There have been improvements in the design of the train over the last 55 years, safety-wise, redundant braking systems, operator interlocks, things of that nature. with less to go wrong and better part availability, we should be able to save money on maintenance considerably. For one example would be a wheel on the train. Right now, we pay about $650 for one of those wheels. There's 40 on the train. They're about 300 from Chance. And there's a number of different parts that are kind of like that. This train would be able to haul more coaches. It has kind of a traction control feature on it, which would allow us to put another train on, passenger car on, and the new seats are a little taller and wider. Our purchase would include the train, their value package, which has a number of spare parts that you kind of need to keep on hand, as well as a warranty. There would be a charger that would be installed in the tunnel for overnight charging, and then there's one that's actually kind of an automatic type deal that sits underneath the train and would charge it up while it's being loaded and unloaded. We have one new ADA accessible passenger coach, and then 4 new passenger coaches, regular ones. They would deliver it to us, depending on when it's approved. They're saying spring of 2023, like March or April, which would be in plenty of time to open for the season. They would come down and train our operators and our mechanics on maintenance, and then give us all the mechanics goodies, owner's manuals, track guides, things of that nature. Be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The train runs on the same gauge that we currently have,
That's correct.
so we won't need to replace the track to a different gauge.
No.
And have we thought about what we're planning on doing with the existing train?
Well, we talked in a previous meeting about trying to find a place to display it and maybe let people come up and take their photos and relive their memories of the original train. We don't have a solid plan in place as to where that would be or how we would do that, but I think we're going to look into that.
And then are we scrapping the existing cars, or are they going to be repurposed?
We would have no need for the existing cars, so I don't know right now what we'll do with those. I don't know if there's a market for somebody that we may be able to sell those cars, but we'd have to look into that if this is approved.
At the very least, you would have scrap value.
Sure.
And so I'm just trying to look at
Yeah.
things that you can do to reduce the cost of the replacement.
Sure.
And then, being an electric train, you're not going to have the sound of the diesel, so
There is a sound system that actually, I was kind of impressed with it. I went down to the Chance Manufacturing and I was kind of like hesitant to accept that, but it really sounded pretty good. It's not overbearing. Still would have the whistle and a bell, things of that nature, but it would not have the diesel.
does the train generate any steam?
It does not.
Okay. I mean, we think these things are silly, but I mean, these are the things that the public looks at and cares about, is watching the steam come off the train, hearing the train across the park. I mean, I agree, fuel efficiency, less moving parts, more traction, being able to be safer, those are all great things, but there's a bit of the nostalgia to keeping a heritage to the train and speak as a train community.
Have you picked out colors for this train, or is it going to look like the old one, or?
That's what we've discussed, is we're going to try to keep it as close as we can to what the train looks like now. I think it may vary slightly.
Yeah, so our current color palette with all the primary colors is kind of unique. Almost everybody has one color for their train. And I have spoken to Chance about having the cars painted individually in primary colors. We have a red, a purple, a yellow, a blue, and then a teal. Teal is not a primary color, but green is, so we thought we'd maybe put a green car on there instead.
I thought we decided to get rid of purple.
Well,
man.
that was just the Jayhawk fans.
We'll talk about that.
Gotta get rid of some. The train was originally yellow and black.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, not a real bright yellow, kind of a
Kind of
cream.
kind of a cream color, yeah.
Did we price the diesel model at all?
They are not currently manufacturing a diesel model or a gasoline model. Kind of a couple of different reasons. One, the gasoline model, their engine builder quit making it. And in order to go with something else in a gasoline model, they would have to completely, re-engineer that. And they haven't had a order for for actually either the diesel or the gasoline in several years. All their orders have been for the electric since about 2019. They still may have a diesel option, but right now they can't get the engines. So, what would be next spring with the electric might be a couple of years with a diesel.
Okay. My other question's about the warranty. 2-year warranty seems kind of short. Was there an option to extend that at all?
No. I believe within that industry, warranties are a luxury that, in other words, most amusement parks, things of that nature, have a maintenance staff, and of course, they're going to have a workmanship warranty initially, but several of the other train manufacturers that I spoke with didn't have a warranty at all.
As Chance, did you say they owned Herschel?
They owned them for like 6 or 7 years, and then there's a museum up in Pennsylvania where the Allen Herschel Company was founded, and they bought all the rights and all the parts and things of that nature.
Because our carousel was a Herschel Spillman.
Yes, yes.
And it was made in New York many moons ago. I think it's a 1907. It's interesting how these companies have bought and traded each other over the years.
That's for sure. If you read into the histories of both of the companies, there's an awful lot of names that are very familiar between the two.
Further questions?
I don't.
I would move for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 5, public comment.
I don't have anyone signed up. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak today? Seeing none, next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director with the Health Department. Just a reminder that today at 11:30 at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library is the community conversation in regards to the county health ranking. So you're welcome to attend in person, and it will also be streamed live during the event. So you can catch the link to join virtually on our social media page, or you can arrive in person, and it will be in all 3 areas of Marvin Auditorium.
And again, the time on that?
11:30 this morning.
We can't make it.
We will have department head evaluations, so we won't be able to attend, but we're very
Understand.
look forward to watching the rankings.
Thank you.
So we'll be able to watch them afterwards then?
I am sure it will be housed somewhere. I'll need to find out where the recording will be housed at, but yes, it'll be recorded, and I'll get that information back out to the public.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. This morning, I just wanted to give you kind of an update on our refresh project at the Weed Department. So here we go. This is kind of what we started out with when I took over, and you know, the building's it's kind of an off-white faded doors. Unfortunately, we weren't able to use Commissioner Mays' color when we chose colors. You know, we had a conversation about it. I said, I don't mind the color really, but I just wanted polka dots, and so, but we chose a color to match the Stormont Vale arena. It turned out very nice. New sign, white doors, little flower potters in there. So. And just to tell you the truth, we are completely done with it. So it was a great little project. Glad it's over with. But the building looks great. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Has the work started on the parking lot on the side there?
It was started in December and completed in December.
Okay, so
that's what that light gray area is.
Actually, no, I'm talking about the gravel.
Oh, the gravel.
lot.
No, we were kind of holding off on that for budgetary reasons.
Okay.
So might be something you see in our CIP plan.
All right. Well, and just to clarify, that pink color, that was the color that your peers chose at the conference.
It was, yes. They were mixed between the polka dotted part and the original pink, and quite honestly, I just couldn't do it. So, but any other questions, Commissioners?
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ernie, Director of Public Works, just another update on the status of our projects. Just a reminder, Croco Road northbound through lane starts today. I see no reason weather-wise why it wouldn't start. We'll see. Southbound Topeka Boulevard did not start last Monday like I thought. It rained all last week, or most of last week, and milling and inlay work isn't conducive to wet weather. So the latest now is they'll start midweek of this week. Laurel Road, the bridge replacement project, it's not so weather sensitive. It has started. Trees have been removed, and things are moving along very well. So with that, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again, Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So today I'm excited to be here to announce that we've hired a new deputy director. Today is her first day. Miss Jess Rakestraw has took the job, and Jess has been with our department now for a little over 12 years. She's going to do a great job. I'm very excited to have her. With that, I'll let Jess say a few words.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. Jess Rakestraw, Parks and Rec. Excited to be here. As Tim mentioned, I've been here for a few years now. Just passionate about what I do here and what Parks and Rec does for the community and beyond. So just looking forward to getting started and helping move the department forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Rippon? Oh, I'm sorry, Larry's coming up. Sorry.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. Tomorrow's May 10th, last day to pay taxes without penalty. You can pay online, which is the easiest way to do it. You can mail your tax in. If it's postmarked as of tomorrow at midnight, we'll count it as due on time, and you can also drop it off at our drop box in front of the courthouse here or at the motor vehicle annex on 17th Street. We don't process out there, but we will bring it downtown, or you can come in person. We will accept cash, checks, or credit card.
Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Commissioner Rippon.
Not much to report here.
All right. Commissioner Cook.
No?
Okay. I don't have much to add either. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Next item, please.
Item 7, executive session.
We do have a need for executive session, so I will move to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 5 hours for the following reason. To discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, specifically to perform department head evaluations. Like I said, this will be 5 hours. We will have breaks throughout as needed. No action is expected following this executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Let's say that we'll begin at 10 a.m. We're in executive session. Oh, sorry, 3-0. What's that?
EOC.
Okay,
5 hours.
yeah, our executive session will be in the EOC, in the basement. We are back from executive session. No action was taken, so we are adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.